All right, cleaning and refilling the rest, part one. I got my gloves on. I got one of these. I got a 5-gallon bucket. And then I got this tote. We're gonna need this for putting shit in. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk up to this clasp. It's gonna be like this, and I'm gonna flip it to cut off the water flow. I gotta remove this pump, and I gotta remove all these air stones. That's my first step. This thing should unscrew like a glove as long as there's not tension on it. So sometimes I gotta lift it just a little bit, and then I'll work on that thread. But it should come off very easily. So I've got the air stones pulled off of the piping, and I've got the air pump down here. I get my alcohol in my cloth, I fold it in half, and I wet it with rubbing alcohol, and I literally wrap it around and I pull it all the way down. I use both hands, I get it tight, and I clean off each line individually with the rubbing alcohol in the cloth. These I'm going to take over to the sink, I'm going to scrub them down and then spray them with rubbing alcohol and let them sit while I do the rest of my work. Alright, so air pump with all its lines are cleaned individually. I got the air stones in the sink, I just went and scrubbed them. I got to get this big pump out, the one that feeds the room. So I like to grab it by the hose. I'm going to take my other hand and grab it by the handle down there. I'm going to lift it up to this hole, and I'm going to tip it one way, tip it the other, let it kind of leak out. And then I'm going to set it down in there, inside that tote. All right, so I got it out, and I like to clean things as I take them out. So I got to clean this cord. So I get, just like I clean the tubes, I get towel, alcohol, just run the cord. Same thing with the pipe. Then I want to pop this cap off. You'll see that that pops off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to the sink along with the other one that I'm about to take out of the reservoir in a minute, and I'll take these and I'll clean these out individually. I'll run water through these filters. Other than that, I just got to basically wipe this whole unit down with rubbing alcohol and clean it. So I'm going to do this next. Mind you, I still have the stir pump in there, and it's stirring still. That's the last step. We touched that last. All right, so last step, we got the res pump in there, the stir pump, and we left it in there for a reason. We're going to use it to help us get that water out. First thing I want to recommend, we want to unplug the main pump, which is the Big Daddy, that pumps the nutrients. We want to get that unplugged just in case. You don't want to fucking have any problems with that. And then, real quick, I want to turn off the stir pump in the reservoir. I'm going to unplug it. I unplug it. I'm going to grab this pipe out. This is the pipe that runs out of the water cooler, and I'm going to put it in that 5-gallon bucket. Then I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to plug this fucker in. It's going to start filling that bucket up with water. So what I'll do is I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to lean this tank back, try to have that pump submerged as much as possible so I can fill this 5-gallon bucket up. Most of the time I only have to fill it up once. Sometimes I'll have to fill it up once, come back and fill it up a little bit more. Okay, so eventually you'll get to a point where there's a little bit of water down there, but you can't pump it anymore. At that point, you take the pipe out that you've been using to fill the bucket and you hang it up there on that fucking nail like so. Then you grab the vacuum here. You got it plugged in, and I'm going to use this vacuum. I'm going to fucking take off this thing, and I'm going to put it down there, and I'm going to suck up the rest of the water. Then I'm going to take that pump out, sanitize it, sanitize the power cord, the feed line. I'm going to wipe down this tank, scrub it out, and it's good to go. Then you put everything back together in and set it back in there and fill it back up and balance it up. All right, I got the rest cleaned out, sanitized, all the pumps sanitized, everything. Now, when you're putting things back in, there's only one thing that matters on placement. It's the nutrient pump. You want to place it filter first, facing the wall. I'm going to drop it down in there. And as you can see, I am filter first. Filter first. Filter first, facing the wall. All right, so major key moment. I got everything set back down in there, and the water's now above the stir pump. I took the pipe that was hanging up on that hook, and I put it back in the 5-gallon bucket. There's gonna be a little bit of funky juice in this machine from the last batch still. We gotta flush that juice out. Got the power cord here. I'm gonna plug that in. And I'm just gonna let that fresh water work its way out. And shit, I'll let this bucket fill up about halfway. Then I'll unplug the pump, take this pipe, I'll drop it back down in there. Then I'll plug that pump back in. And then I got my stir pump working its magic. Very last thing I'll do is plug in this bad boy, put him back in on the cycle timer, and then I'll take this thing here and I'm gonna screw this back in to my pipe. Once it's screwed back in, I'll get this lever and I'll turn it so it's running even with the pipe. And then that's it, man. You just fill it up and you gotta just balance the newts and well, actually, when you do this, you're just gonna be filling it up with water and maybe a little bit of drip clean or something.